Hey, what's up? This is Sully from Godsmack. Strap on those boots, baby, because you are now in the trenches of the war room with the one and only Mistress Carrie right here on the Mistress Carrie podcast.
What's up? This is Joe Rogan, and you're listening to Mistress Carrie.
Her hair so lovely, pretty eyes.
Hey, this is Brent from Shinedown, and you're listening to Mistress Carrie. Hey, Carrie, go put your bra on, girl.
Hey, this is Steven Tyler, and you be listening to the baddest bitch in Boston, Mistress Carrie.
What's up? This is Aaron from Stain, and you're listening to Mistress Carrie.
Hi, everybody. This is Dave Grohl from the Foo Fighters, and you're listening to the one, the only Mistress Carrie.
Hey, this is David from the band Disturbed, and you're listening to the baddest bitch in Boston, Mistress Carrie.
Hi, Bruce Dickinson here from Iron Maiden. Yes, indeed, Miss Whiplash herself, Mistress Carrie, is here to unchain your brain.
Hi, this is Flea from the Red Hot Chili Peppers. You're listening to Mistress Carrie.
This is Dennis Leary. You are listening to my favorite, Mistress Carrie.
Hey, this is Corey from Stone Sour, and you have the privilege of listening to Mistress Carrie.
Oh, God. Oh, yeah.
Hey, it's Mistress Carrie, reporting for duty from MCHQ for episode 277 of the Mistress Carrie podcast. Taylor Momsen and the Pretty Reckless just came off the road after more than 2 years touring with AC/DC on the Power Up Tour. Their new single, For I Am Death, is out now, and the band is putting the finishing touches on their new album. I got a chance to catch up with Taylor to talk about everything from boxing to Soundgarden to the Rock Hall and the upcoming new album. Taylor made her first appearance on episode 55 of the Mistress Carrie podcast, and I'm psyched that she's back. So allow me to reintroduce you to Taylor Momsen from the Pretty Reckless. There she is, Miss Taylor Momsen.
Hello. How are you?
I'm really good. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you.
I appreciate you making the time to talk to me because you are a woman on a mission. I literally cannot turn around without seeing your face and your freaking abs.
That did kind of go everywhere. It was a little unexpected.
So just so you don't hear it from anyone else and think that I was talking crap, I have renamed your abs. You don't have a 6-pack, you have a 30 rack to give a New England reference.
I love it.
So I've been calling you Taylor 30 Rack Momsen on the air.
Amazing. That's a good one. I like that.
Now, I am not one to focus on a woman's appearance, but I do covet your abs. Is it really boxing that you've been doing? Because you're a friggin' machine right now.
Thank you. Yeah, honestly. I mean, I weight train and stuff as well, but boxing has been incredible. I've been doing it for, I don't even know now, like probably a year, but with tour breaks. So I haven't been boxing on the road, but I love it. It's an incredible workout. And it's also great for your mind, and it's super fun. Like I really like it. And I think that's kind of where that's definitely helped.
Well, I was going to ask about like good for your mind, because there are a lot of times a day that I want to punch someone in the face. And I would think that boxing, you can kind of get that out in a safe, non-prison way.
You can. It's very cathartic. It's like another form of being on stage or something. Like it's very, because it's so physical. It completely, the thing I love about boxing is that it forces you to not be distracted by other things, because if you're distracted, you get hit in the face.
Yeah.
So you really have to focus on what you're doing. And I think that that's really good for me. Like I tried yoga and stuff, and it just did not work for me. So,
I think you and I have very similar personality traits that way, because I've said the same thing about skydiving, because I've been skydiving for years, and it's the same kind of thing. If you think about anything else while you're doing it, bad things happen.
Yeah.
And being able to myopically focus on one thing when you have a crazy life like yours, what a vacation.
It is. And it's also just super fun. It's fun to hit stuff. So I love it.
Now, there are other artists like Zoltan Bathory from Five Finger Death Punch where training in a ring just isn't enough. Have you gotten bit by the bug so bad you want to actually start sparring and fighting professionally? Have you gone that far?
I mean, I don't know about professionally, but I'll try to work up to a fight. I'd like to be good enough to be able to spar. Let me put it that way. Like, I don't like to half-ass anything. So I would like to be able to, let's put it that way.
Have you gone so far that you get up early in the morning? Because I am a night person, so getting up like with the sun to exercise does not sound fun to me. Or are you doing it in the afternoon?
Let's calm down on getting up with the sun.
Okay, I want to make sure you hadn't joined the cult that bad. Okay.
I am setting an alarm, but that doesn't mean it's getting up with the sun. It is like, it's the first thing I do in the morning, but my morning is early afternoon.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that you hadn't gone like total cult level where you're like getting up at sunrise, because that I don't understand.
Haven't gone full dark side. I still am playing a rock band. Like, the priorities.
Okay, all right. When you guys brought the Power Up tour with AC/DC to Gillette Stadium, I don't know if you could hear me screaming for you in the crowd, but I had this moment, and it sounds ridiculous, but of pride for you. Like watching you play that show in that big of a venue, and you on stage calling it a hometown show, which you guys are a New England band, whether, you want to get specific about it or not, your hours were keeping you. What was that like for you?
It's incredible. And honestly, it is like a hometown show for us. Like I have so many friends that live in New England. We rehearsed for the first, like half of our career in New England, and still do. And so it's, we're back and forth between New York and New England. We share spaces. So it was a hometown show. And because New York, as much as I love New York and it's my home, it's not a hometown. Like New York is not that kind of environment. And New England, it's a hometown show. It's different. So it was very exciting and very fun to play that one in particular. And honestly, just being on tour with AC/DC and getting to play any of those shows and all of those shows was just a dream come true. They're amazing, and it was so much fun.
You spent so much time on the road with them, and I loved the amazing birthday gifts they gave to you. Like, you're touring with a band that is, in the influence and lore of rock and roll, they are one of the pillars. And so in comparison, the Pretty Reckless is a new band, even though you're not a new band. But compared to AC/DC, you are. What was that like, and what lessons did you learn touring with those guys?
I mean, it's honestly, it's unbelievable. I mean, getting to watch, it's unbelievable. Getting to watch them every night was just a schooling. Like, you just got schooled by AC/DC every night in the best way possible, where you just, you watch the show and you watch Angus up there running around and you just go, they're one of the inventors of this. Like, this is what this is. And they're everything you want them to be and more, as people and as the show they deliver. Like, I think they're on fire right now. Like, they have something extra that they're giving to the audience, and it's just incredible to see every night. It's so loud, it's obscene in the best way possible. Like, Angus's amps are, I think they're like 110 dB on stage before they even turn the PA on. So, like, just that alone is so fucking rock and roll.
For anybody that doesn't know what that means at the back of Gillette Stadium without the PA system, you'd still hear them.
Oh, you'd still have to, like, wear earplugs. That's loud. It's so loud. And to the fact that he controls that volume like it's nothing is insane. I mean, he's driving the race car of electric guitars on stage every night. They're just awesome. And then as people, they're awesome. Like, they're as rock and roll as you can get. They're as kind as you can get. So they're just, the whole camp, the whole everything was so welcoming and so gracious and supportive and just cool. And I think I can genuinely say, after being out with them for so long now, I've had 2 birthdays on tour with AC/DC. I've been 3 different ages, that we've made a really special connection. And I think we've made some lifelong friends. And that's just very surreal to say out loud, but also just awesome, because at the end of the day, we're all people and we all love rock and roll. And that's your common thread.
You've had a chance to tour with several bands that are that way for you. Soundgarden is another one. They are getting inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And you've become so close with those guys. Kim Thale said they were going to invite a bunch of vocalists up to kind of pay tribute to the band at the induction. Can you tell me if you got asked? Are you part of it? What are you allowed to tell me, if anything?
This is going to be a really not great interview because there's going to be so much stuff I can't say. What I will say is I am incredibly happy and proud and like just beaming that Soundgarden is getting inducted this year. It's about time, and I am so happy for them and so excited. And stay tuned, man.
This question you can definitely answer. Since I talked to you last, obviously quite recently, we lost Ozzy. And it's my opinion that if you're going to be in rock and metal, it's impossible for you to have not been influenced in some way, shape, or form by Ozzy and Sabbath. And it's pretty hard to not have an Ozzy story of some kind. So what does that music legacy mean to you? And also, do you have an Ozzy story?
I mean, Sabbath is everything. I mean, it's ingrained in the DNA of what I do. I was, I think we've talked about this before, but I was really fortunate to grow up in a household that reveres rock and roll and all things rock and roll, and including metal. And that's comes from my father's side. And so he used to take me to the basement like every Sunday and play me a new record. And it was this kind of like musical education starting when I was, I don't know, 2-3 years old.
Parenting win, by the way, Dad.
Oh, yeah. Oh, 100%. And I mean, you walk in my parents' house and it's a rock and roll museum of paraphernalia. Like, he's a collector. So my family's house is very cool. And so I grew up, with these amazing records, and Sabbath was one of those records. And then, and it struck me as so, I think the first time you hear Sabbath, it's unmistakable, and there's nothing else like it. And it's, it smacks you and sits with you and stays with you. And the older I got, the more I understood it, and the more, obviously the more I delved into it. And it's such an important influence, and it's such a sad loss to the rock and metal community. But that music is going to be here forever. And the fact that it exists is everything. So, I mean, massive, to answer your question, massive influence.
Did you ever get a chance to meet him?
I never actually had to meet Ozzy, no, but I do know the family, and just my condolences to all the loved ones, because and I understand loss, unfortunately, and it's incredibly, incredibly difficult. Whether you're prepared for it or not, there's no such thing as being prepared.
When you first launched The Pretty Reckless, you were trying to kind of separate your careers because you had so much notoriety from your acting career. And there have been so many actors that have been like, I think I want to be a rock star today. And I know, because you and I have talked about it, that you had to kind of get over that hump to be taken seriously. You've navigated that to the point now where people have to be reminded that you were an actress because you're so known for the band now. Are you thinking about doing acting again now that I feel like you're so comfortable and at home in your musical career that you don't have to prove that you're good anymore? Because I feel like for a while you didn't even want to deal with the acting stuff because you wanted people to realize that Pretty Reckless was a real band, which you obviously are.
Yeah, I mean, definitely there was a lot of aspects of that I had to overcome. I think, coming from an acting background, but also being so young, I think had a lot to do with it. Like, it's hard to be, I was only 15 on Light Me Up. And so to be taken seriously as a 15-year-old, I think, if a 15-year-old came at me with record, I would laugh it off too. So, it's, as an adult looking back, I kind of understand it. And to answer your question, acting to me was something that's a childhood thing. That's not something I'm looking to go back to at any time in my future. But I did make a very calculated decision when I was younger to kind of shut off all aspects of anything that didn't have to do directly with the music itself. And things, and some of them are like deep, passionate interests of mine. Like, I love fashion. And so that was something that I shunned entirely, because I went, if I'm doing fashion weeks and modeling or camping, anything to do with glam or that kind of celebrity world or whatever you want to call it, it's going to detract from what I'm trying to say with my music. And so I think that I've now reached a place in my life and my career where I can kind of open those doors, and I'm a little bit more open to all aspects of myself, which feels nice. It's a good place to be in, to not have to kind of shut off one part of yourself to prove something in another area. Because to me, like, especially with fashion, like music and fashion and makeup and, like all the things I love, they go hand in hand. Like music and fashion have always been synonymous with one another, and especially in rock and roll, if you look at it through history. And so I think that to not have to be so closed off to those kinds of that side of me and those kinds of opportunities is an exciting place to be in, where I'm just me. I'm just comfortable with it. So it's,
You just seem, the reason why I asked is you seem a lot more comfortable navigating the world. Well, even just seeing you pop up at award shows and stuff, I feel like is something you wouldn't have done even a few years ago. And now you are, because I think, at least from my perspective, you don't have anything to prove to anybody. The doubters have been silenced at this point.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm sure there's always going to be haters, but you need those guys, man. Like,
yeah.
There's no one hating on you, then you're doing something wrong. So I think that I've just come to a place of acceptance of myself where I'm just comfortable. And I think that's good. It's nice to be there. I think also going through so much turmoil and we went through a very hard period in my life and the band's life, and with loss and everything on the last album and the last album cycle, that coming out of that on the other side of where I am now is refreshing to me. Like, I think, because I had to make a very conscious decision back then. I was going to die or I was going to live, and it was, not to be dramatic about it, but it was that serious, and I had to choose to move forward. And I think that by doing so, it's brought a whole new kind of perspective and acceptance of my life and life itself, and appreciation for it that I now kind of carry with me every day.
I talked to Wolfgang Van Halen about this because I lost my mom in December. So when you talk about loss, and kind of,
so sorry.
Thank you. And she was sick for a long time, so it wasn't a complete shock. But when I talked to Wolfgang about it, the idea of like losing a parent, right, is something that unfortunately we're all going to have to deal with at some point or another. And him being able to focus a lot of that loss into his music, not your parent, but obviously you focusing your loss into your music. Has it surprised you how many people have come up and talked to you about how that music has helped them through loss? Because I know going back and listening to certain music has helped me feel like I wasn't the only one going through that kind of stuff.
I don't know that I would say it surprised me, because it's so, it's so relevant and relevant. It's so there.
Yeah.
In the album, like it's not disguised by anything. So I don't think surprise is the right word, but it's definitely, hearing people's stories, reading them when, people, Instagram and Twitter and all the ways we communicate nowadays, and having those stories shared with me has definitely touched me in a way that I wasn't necessarily expecting. Because it is so important. I mean, music is so important. The artists that you love, at least, for me, the artists that I love is because they give me something that I need in my life. Whether I know them personally or not, it has nothing to do with it. The music itself feeds me in a way that nothing else can, and makes me feel however I need to feel. Whatever I get out of that it's something that's personal to me. And so the fact that our music has done that for some people is an incredibly rewarding feeling as an artist, because you want your music to have layers and reach people on a real kind of human level, and not just a superficial kind of escape,
You kind of blew my mind when you said you were 15 when that first kind of record, and because my mind is trying to wrap itself around that. Has your writing style, with everything that's happened since the first record, up into this new music, has it changed at all? Or do you still write the same way?
I wish I had an answer for that. Because the reality is there is no formula to writing, at least for me. Like, there is no easy answer. songs are these kind of magical gifts sometimes, and they fall out of the sky half the time and land in your lap, and sometimes you don't even know where they came from. It's also something that I work really hard at. So it's a balance of magic and work. And, in that element, it hasn't changed at all. It's also an outlet for me to work through my own life and how I view the world and how I view myself, and grow as a person. And so, that's where I think writing really started for me, because I started writing songs when I was very little, like 5, 6. And it just was this thing that music kind of always made sense to me, is kind of the simplest way I can say it. Like,
I'm very envious of that, because that is not my experience at all. Even though I grew up in a very, as Wolfgang called it, a very music positive environment where it's always around and whatever. But for some reason, unlike Wolfgang and unlike you, I didn't get the other part of it where I can actually make it, which I'm so jealous of.
Well, it's something that I think I lived a very unconventional life growing up. And like my notebook and my songs, and it was my best friend. Like, it was my thing that kind of kept me sane and together as a person. And it was how I learned to navigate the world. I did it through song. And so it was always very personal to me, and it still is. And I think the biggest thing I had to learn, as I got older and started releasing records, is not even learn, but like you just become more aware of it, is that the older I got, the more in depth the more care I took with each song, I guess would be the way to say it. Like, you want every song to have layers and depth to it, that the more you listen to it, the more you're going to uncover something inside of it. And it's not just simply a face value piece of work. And so I think that that's something that I always strive for in my writing. Not necessarily super consciously, like I don't, it's not the intent, but when I finish something, you look at it, you have to look at it from all aspects, and to quality check or whatever you want to call it. Like, when something's good and when something's not, at least I do. And there's a lot of in between things before you find that magic sweet spot. So writing's this very tumultuous thing where it's this kind of torturous process, because there is no process. And half of the time you're just afraid you can never do it again, because you didn't know where it came from in the first place. Luckily I haven't totally had that issue yet. So, but
Well, the new song For I Am Death is everywhere. If you haven't seen the video yet, the 30 rack is all over it. Is this a single? Because it brings me to the question of where we're at in the music world. Are we creating full albums for the sake of the completed work, or are we releasing singles because we exist in a streaming world? How do you answer that question?
I am going to answer that question with, I am a tried and true rock and roll lover of the album. The album is the whole thing. That's the whole story. So For I Am Death we have been working very diligently and very hard in between AC/DC tours. That's how we've been working.
Which is this insane sentence to say still.
It's an insane sentence to say, which I've told the story, but I'll tell it to you. It's pretty funny. When we finished touring Death by Rock and Roll, I had a ton of material that I wanted to, we hadn't made a record in a long time, and I really wanted to get in the studio and start working on the next record. And so I kind of went, we're done. And I called my agent, and he goes, you don't want to tour anymore, right? We're in the studio. And I said, yeah, no, we're going to make the new record. Like, don't call me. I'm good. Thank you. And he goes, okay, but not even for like big things. And I go, unless it's the Rolling Stones or AC/DC, I'm not leaving. And about 2 weeks later, the phone rings, and he goes, Taylor, you're not going to believe this. The Rolling Stones called, and also AC/DC called. And
Wait, what? They both called?
They both called. So I go, okay, table this record, like stop the record, I guess. We're going on tour, because there's some things you just can't say no to. And so it started with the Stones at Allegiant Stadium in Vegas, and then we flew out that night to go join the AC/DC tour and start with them in Germany the next day. And it was just an insane start of the next 2 years. That's basically what we've been doing. And so, but what I neglected to say is when we just started in the studio and it was going swimmingly. Like it was probably my favorite recording session we've done since the very first album. Like everything was just flowing. And to interrupt that with any kind of touring is a challenge and kind of like to wrap your head around that when things are going so well, because the studio is trying to capture lightning in a bottle and you don't know if you're going to find that again. But needless to say, you don't say no to AC/DC. So we went out, and then in between tours, we've been in the studio, and we've been working on something that I'm incredibly proud of, and we are currently putting the final touches on. So,
and you're ready to make all the big announcements about the new album right here on the show. So go right ahead.
Not this exact second. There's so much I can't say yet, but soon, and I would love to give you some exclusives. So we'll redo this.
I knew there was going to be questions you couldn't answer, but I'm going to ask them anyway, just in case.
That's just good journalism.
Yeah, I have to ask. If you can't answer, that's all on you. But at least I know that it's a full album in the works. Yes. And you're not just releasing singles, because you know how the industry's working right now. Some bands are just releasing singles, and that's how they want to move forward. And look, as long as we're getting new music from the bands we love, how you guys want to deliver it, that's cool with me.
Well, that is the one thing that I do like about the new paradigm is that, we were able to put out For I Am Death and not be completely finished with what we're working on, because I was very quickly, I knew that was the first thing I wanted people to hear. So that was an easy decision to make, but we didn't have to wait, this lengthy amount of time to start sharing things. And so that is something that is, I think, appealing to me about the new paradigm, is that there's this kind of constant feed of art, it's cool.
Before I let you go, are there any more bands that you want to put into the ether that you want to tour with? Because obviously it's a self-fulfilling prophecy for you, because with a new album, which I'm assuming is coming out in 2026, there's going to be touring plans for you. So who's the wish list now? Because you kind of tackled them already.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I let's go Foo Fighters. Foo Fighters just played the other night, and they're amazing. So we've played a few shows with them, but I would love to do more with them. I love those guys.
Well, there you go. Well, most likely Dave Grohl will be calling you next week the way you work.
You never know, man. You never know.
Can you wish some Powerball numbers for me while you're at it? Setting,
is it one number, two number? I don't know anything about Powerball.
It was so good to see you. Congratulations on the new song, because it's everywhere. And I can't wait to hear the new stuff. But I got to tell you, seeing you on stage at Gillette was a pretty badass moment for me. I was so excited for you.
Well, thank you. Well, thank you so much for coming to support. That
Are you kidding?
So thank you.
I was this psycho screaming on the floor like, oh my God.
I love it. It
was awesome. It was so good to see you. Thank you so much.
So good to see you. Thanks.
See you later.
Bye.
There she is, Taylor Momsen from The Pretty Reckless. I guess we're going to have to keep our eyes out to see if she's on stage at the Peacock Theater November 8th in Los Angeles, helping to induct Soundgarden into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and to see if she's going to end up touring with the Foo Fighters next year, because when it comes to Taylor and The Pretty Reckless, everything is possible. If you want to check out the new song, For I Am Death, it's featured in this episode's corresponding playlist. I make a playlist for every full-length episode of the Mistress Carrie podcast that features all of my guest music and all the artists and songs that we referenced in the interview. It's linked in the show notes alongside her first appearance on episode 55 of the Mistress Carrie podcast. You'll also find all of Taylor's links, the Pretty Reckless links, and the Mistress Carrie links. If you liked what you heard, don't forget to like, follow, share, comment, and subscribe to the Mistress Carrie podcast. New full-length episodes come out every Wednesday. Plus, every weekday, you get the Sit Rep. The Situation Report gives you all your rock news, music headlines, and entertainment updates in about 5 minutes. You never know when we're going to release a bonus episode. Join me live every Tuesday night at 8:30 Eastern for my weekly streaming video show, Cocktails in the War Room, and you can always find me on the radio. Get the details on all of that and more at mistresscarrie.com. The Mistress Carrie podcast, a proud member of the Pantheon Podcast Network.